officially going on a book buying ban. The book buying has got to stop. It has gotten out of control. I know that's a touch dramatic, but for real, I have got to stop buying books. So that's the goal of today's video. If this is the first time you're seeing my face, then hi, I'm Maddie, and I have a book buying problem. That's all you need to know. Recently, I went on a huge book buying spree for my birthday. I did 24 books for my 24th birthday, and if you haven't seen that video, I will link that somewhere. But that was excessive. I had no reason to do that. So you would think that I haven't bought a lot of books since then, because it was only a month and a half ago. But I'm staring at a rather large stack of books that I've bought since then. So I'm finally gonna cut it off. Today is going to be the start of my book buying ban after we take a trip to Barnes. I know what you're thinking, but I have this book that has been on my list, like I've been waiting for it all year. It's from the author of one of my favorite books this year, and I just realized today that it actually came out over a month ago, and I thought that I would take you guys with me to Barnes and have one last little trip before I officially put myself on my first book buying ban. I'm thinking right now is July 13th. I'm thinking I'm gonna put the ban in place until the start of September. So a month and a half, which isn't that long, but obviously that is gonna be difficult for me. My plan for today is to go to Barnes, pick out the book that I've been wanting, and then I am gonna look around, see like what's on the BOGO tables. And I actually have a few video ideas, like reading vlog ideas that I've had in mind for a while, like reading blank for a month. And I'm gonna see if I need like a couple of books to fill out those videos or not. And then I'll come home and I'll give you a haul of what I get today and then what I've acquired since my birthday vlog. The new release that I'm excited for is The Will of the Many by James Islington. And he's not a super popular author, but he wrote the Lacanius trilogy, which is one of my favorites. This third book that I have in particular is my favorite book of 2023 so far. And it's a epic fantasy that is just awesome. My boyfriend got me to read these books, and he doesn't read, but he picked up this. I don't know why he picked up such a chunky book series when he doesn't really read, but he loved it and forced me to read it, and I also loved it. So we are both really excited about his new release. We're both gonna pick it up and hopefully read it soon. Maybe we can do a little buddy read. That'd be cute. I looked at the Goodreads reviews for The Will of the Many, and they look promising, so I'm very excited. Oh, and I really want to do a reading booktubers favorite books, and I actually have a lot that I already own that are people's favorites, like maybe not their all-time favorites, but one of their favorite books. So I might be able to get by without buying any for that video, but we'll see. And I won't lie, there's a good chance that I'll just pick up something just because. So let's just get out of here and go to Barnes.
books, this is actually embarrassing. Obviously I'm back from Barnes and I think I did okay. I actually got my tote bag. I've been wondering when I was gonna get this, like when your membership rolls over and you get the tote bag, and it was today. And I walked away with 4 books, so not too bad. But now that I have this stack of books that I've bought since my last haul, and this is, I feel like I need an intervention. Oh my gosh, these are all of the books that I bought in just the last month and a half. This seems unhealthy, but this should be fun. Let's go through them all. I'll start with the 4 that I got today. I'm sure you maybe guessed which ones I got, but I'll start with the obvious. They did have The Will of Many by James Islington. There was only 1 copy, and I actually was really scared. I could not find this to save my life. She's not a perfect copy. She's a little banged up, but it's okay. I'm very excited for this. I know I probably won't pick it up for a little bit, but I just wanted to have it. I'm very excited to support this author with his new series. I am so bad at explaining fantasy books, but from what I've gathered, it's about this man who is pretending to be someone he's not. Like, I think whatever he is, whether that be like, I don't even know. If the hierarchy, which it sounds like maybe that's like the government or something, if they find out who or what he is, then they'll kill him. And yeah, that's all I know. It's the first book in probably another trilogy, and I'm just very excited for it. I don't care what it's about. I'm gonna love it, I hope. I wanted to avoid getting another series because I have so many on my shelves that I have not touched because I'm kind of scared to start a new series. But I've been eyeing A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik for so long. Every time I go into Barnes & Noble, I love looking at this thing. I think the covers are so pretty. And I'm pretty sure that Rachel Catherine read these this year and really liked them. So I decided to finally pick it up because I realized, look how short this thing is. And I think it's a trilogy, maybe 4 books max, I think. So this would be a fun little thing, like especially if I'm a little scared to kind of dip my toes into another big fantasy series. This might be a nice little starter. And then I had a couple of romances that I was debating between, and I feel like people are gonna be so upset that I did not pick up Addicted to You. I just, like I said, I don't want another series, and it's a huge, long series. And it's been on my TBR for a really long time, but today was just not the day to pick it up. I need to make a significant dent, I feel like, in my TBR before I pick up that series. I did, however, pick up Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I feel like one of the last people on earth to read this book. It's one of those like OG book talk books that everybody was obsessed with, and it's always been on my TBR, and I thought that this would be a good pick for when I do Reading Booktuber's favorite books, because I'm pretty sure this is one of Sarah Caroli's like all-time favorite books, and I don't think I have another option for her other than Magnolia Parks, which I do really want to read, but I kind of maybe want to give it like its own video, so I picked this up. The last one from today I feel like is a little bit of a curveball. It's been on my list for a while actually, but I don't know if I ever would have really picked it up, but Katie is Reading read this in a recent reading vlog, I think, and she really loved it, and just like the way she was talking about it, I thought that it sounded like a really fun, light option. It's The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. I think this is a fantasy historical romance, which I've never read before, never really heard of before, but this sounds like it's like pretty whimsical, just like fun. I don't think there's like complex magic rules or anything like that, but I think in her vlog she talked about like floating houses and like weird stuff like that. All I really know is that the guy is sent to assassinate the woman, and then obviously it's a romance between the 2 of them. So it just sounds like fun, and when I was just reading the back, it made me laugh a little bit, and I think this will be a cute one. I feel like this would be perfect for the start of fall. So on to the rest of the books. I'm gonna start with some that are a little bit odd. And you know, if you read books like this, then I love that for you. If you've read these books, please tell me what you thought. They actually have really good reviews, and this is a genre that I just never thought about. It makes sense that it exists, but I never would have thought about it, and I never would have bought it for myself. But these are now in my possession, and that is Amish romances. So the story behind this is my aunt was visiting and we got to talking about books because I just cannot restrain myself. And she was telling me that she has this really great used bookstore by her and that they have an entire section of Amish books, like I think mostly Amish romances. And she said she asked the cashier and he was like, yeah, people buy them all the time. They're actually really popular. I mean, they have a whole section of it. Maybe there's a lot of Amish people in Ohio or people who read Amish romances. I'm not really sure. I've never seen that before in a bookstore, so it was news to me. And I guess that we were joking about her sending me a couple books, but I don't remember that conversation happening. And then one day these appear in the mail with a sweet little note from my aunt. One of them is Amish Cooking Class, The Seekers by Wanda E. Brunstetter. I think this one's like a romance, maybe, but maybe not. Oh no, it's a mystery with romance and cooking. I'm not really sure, but this is her. The other one is Material Witness by Vanetta Chapman. And this one is another, I think, mystery romance. And yeah, that's kind of all that I know. It's giving Handmaid's Tale. And both of these have actually pretty high ratings on Goodreads. And, you know, I'm sure that the intended audience loves these books. However, I don't think I'm the intended audience. And while it was very sweet of my aunt to send me these, I highly doubt that these are going to get read. So I have a few books that I got while I was traveling. At the end of June, I went on vacation with my family. We went to Belize, and of course we found the bookstore there. Actually, my mom did, not even me. She found the bookstore, sent it to me, and it was like the one thing that I had to do while we were there. It's called The Literary Lizard, and it was so cute. It was this tiny little used bookstore full of an interesting selection of books. I think I took a picture of it, so I'll put a picture on the screen somewhere. But we were in there for a good little bit, and I got a book and I got my little brother a book. Something that I just like to do when I'm on vacation or just traveling for any reason, especially like outside of my state, is I like to find a bookstore there and buy myself a book. And then I write in the book like where I got it, the name of the bookstore, and the date. It's just a little thing that I started doing recently. I'm not like a souvenir person or like anything like that. So this is my form of a souvenir. And when we were in Belize, I got Beartown by Frederick Bachman. It is a mass market paperback and it's really well loved, which is cute. I do hate a mass market paperback, but the options were limited and I was like, you know what? She is cute. I'm going to give her a chance. And the font in here is not like horrendously tiny, so hopefully I can enjoy reading this. But I've heard great things about Frederick Bachman. I feel like he was really having a moment recently where everyone was really into his books. I'll be honest, the idea of it doesn't really sound that great to me. It sounds like a little boring. It sounds kind of like Friday Night Lights, which I've never watched, so who am I to judge? But it's, I think, yeah, it's a small town and they play hockey at the high school, I think. And that's like all the town is hockey. And then something goes wrong, something happens to a young girl, and yeah, maybe it's got like a little bit of mystery to it. That would be fun. I also actually just got back last night from a little business trip. I went to Cincinnati, Ohio, just for a few days for work, and I went with someone else and we were on the plane together and we started talking about books. I can't help myself, but actually she started the conversation and she was actually really into books. So we talked for a long time and somehow the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo came up and we both have been really wanting to read that. And so she was like, okay, if we happen to see a Barnes & Noble or anything, we are stopping in there and we are both getting that book and then we're gonna read it and get back to each other and talk about it. So we're just driving around looking for a place to eat and she turns the corner and I was like, what is that? The cutest bookstore I've seen in a really long time. I forgot the name, but I'll put it on the screen. And the pictures I took of the inside, this looked like a Barnes & Noble, but it's an independent bookstore. She said there's only 2 in the area and it was so cute. I wish I could have stayed there all day. They had a great selection of books, and again, huge. So that was the highlight of my week. I was so obsessed, and we did, of course, get The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which this is another one I'm like the last person to read. It was like super popular on Book Talk a couple years ago. I feel like everyone knows what this is, but if you don't, I think it just follows a woman in Hollywood. It follows her through her 7 husbands that she's had and just like documenting her life. I think it might be kind of like an interview or maybe someone writing them. I don't know, actually. I think I made that up. There is like a plot twist kind of thing, I think, that happens at the end, and I know what it is. I don't know if that's like the main part of the book or not, but I do know what happens at the end. But nonetheless, I still want to read it. I've enjoyed everything that I've read from her so far, and I feel like it's about time. There I also got By a Thread by Lucy Score, which the woman that I was there with, she suggested I read this book. She was reading the second book, what's it called? There's Things We Never Got Over, and then I think Things We Hide from the Light. Is that the name of the second one? Whatever the second one is, she was reading that on the plane. She was like, oh my gosh, I love Lucy Score. She's so funny. I love her romance. You have to read her. And she was like, this one is the book that got me hooked on her, so you have to read it. So I would have felt bad if I didn't buy it. I don't own a Lucy Score book. Well, now I do. But her books are pretty thick for romances, and they've always intimidated me a bit. But I'm excited to give this a try. I picked up another Taylor Jenkins Reid book recently, and that is Carrie Soto is Back. This finally just came out in a paperback. I've been waiting, and I have heard amazing things about this. I know Destiny Sidwell loves this book, and my friend Mick, who also has a booktube, she recently read this, and I'm pretty sure she gave it 5 stars and loved it. She texted me that day and was like, please, please read this. So I really need to get to this one soon. And I'm also excited for this one because it's part of her, I think they're called like the Big 4 books or whatever, where she has characters that are like interconnected within her books. So Carrie Soto is in Malibu Rising, just like a teensy little bit. And so, I don't know, I'm excited to see which of her other characters is in this one. This isn't a genre or a topic that I would normally be like super excited for. It's about Carrie Soto, who is a famous tennis player. She's like the best of the best, and then I think she retires, and then some new girl comes in and she is crushing it. And I think she's about to beat Carrie's world record or something like that. And Carrie is like, I'm coming out of retirement. I cannot let this girl beat me. Because Carrie Soto is a very like strong-willed, competitive woman, and she just cannot stand for that. At the beginning of this month, I read When in Rome by Sarah Adams, and everybody loves that book, and for good reason. I loved it. It was so cute. I loved Noah. It was my first small town romance. It was just so cute, like a fun, quick read. And so I got the next one, which is Practice Makes Perfect. And I know that not everybody loves this one. A lot of people don't like it as much as the first one, but I still want to give it a try. This one follows Annie, who is the sister of Noah, the male main character of the first one. Annie runs a flower shop. She's like really cutesy, whatever. And she ends up, I think, like fake dating maybe the bodyguard of the pop star that's in the first movie book. I feel like I'm going crazy describing all these books, but hopefully you know what I mean, and you've probably heard of these anyways, so whatever. For a minute, I was seeing Miss Nash's Ashes by Sarah Adler everywhere, I feel like. It got published recently, and then I think that the publishing company sent it out to a lot of people that I follow or something, and people were talking about this a lot. Do I know if anybody has read it and reviewed it positively? No, I don't know. But it sounded cute, and I don't know. Someone must have said something positive about it that made me want to buy it. So I saw it at Half Price Books and scooped her up. This follows a woman who was best friends with this like old lady who passed away, and she promised to spread her ashes somewhere like halfway across the country. And then she somehow gets this man in her car, and I don't know what it is that he's doing, but they are somehow in this car, like road trip together, going cross country, and I think he's like grumpy, whatever, and it's just a romance. But something about it sounded good enough for me to pick it up. While I was in Half Price Books, I also picked up The Poppy War and Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. The Poppy War is a super popular fantasy trilogy that I've heard is like heartbreaking, super duper sad, but really, really good. And then Yellowface just came out. This is totally different. It is a satire about two authors. One of them ends up dead, and then the other steals her story and pretends it's hers. I've actually already read this one, and our main character is insane. The lengths that she will go to like not let this secret get out is crazy, and has a lot of critiques on the publishing industry and things. And I'm not gonna say anything more. I'll save my thoughts for my reading wrap up. Okay, we're getting down to the end. This next one was a bit of a curveball for me. I was very inspired by Faith's reading because she has talked about this book in a couple of her recent videos, and I know it's on her July TBR, and I've never heard anybody else talk about it. It's a sci-fi, and maybe for people who hear more about like new sci-fi books, maybe it's a popular book, I really don't know. But her videos were the first time that I heard of it, and the cover really is stunning. It's weird, but I love it. It is The Mountain and the Sea by Ray Naylor, and that is an octopus. This is a sci-fi about people who are, I think, studying octopuses. I think that's how you say that. And they realize that octopus are actually super intelligent, and I think like smart enough that they possibly start taking over. Not really sure. But the fact that Faith has just been so excited to read this made me want to pick it up and read it with her. So this is totally different for me, but I really like the cover and I think it'll be fun. Wow, I got another sci-fi book that day. I got Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and she is having a moment right now. I know that this book has always been really popular. It came out a really long time ago, I think. Yeah, 2013, so it's 10 years old. And ever since Haley Pham read this in one of her videos and like fell in love with it, I feel like she is the reason why this is just super popular again and everybody wants to read it. I read the prologue for this and was super intrigued, and so I really want to get to this soon. It's a book that I would love to read by the end of the year, and I'll just read you the back. His wife taken, his people enslaved, driven by a longing for justice and the memory of lost love, Darrow will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if he must become one of them to do so. This is just, I can tell, it's going to be a very fun, exciting read, and it's the start of a sci-fi series, so who knows, maybe I will really get into sci-fi this year. I'm realizing I was really just trying to branch out this month. I was buying books that are outside of my comfort zone, and the last 4 books that I have are actually all classics, which I don't think I've ever read a classic. I'm sure I read one in school, like I've read the Iliad and the Odyssey, and if those are classics, yeah, they are. But I've never read Jane Austen or like what I think of as classics, which are books like these. When I saw the table that had these classics on them, it had my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have those. I have to have every single one of them. It was honestly hard to just buy 4. Like, I don't know. I love them too much, just visually. I don't think that this version is new. It just was the first time that I've ever seen them at my Barnes, and they're just beautiful. It's the last time I'll say it. I've actually been wanting to do a video where I read classics for a week, so I was like, okay, this is perfect. That was an excuse for me to buy more than one of these, and I will actually do that video soon. I'm kind of excited. I almost want to do it like in the next couple weeks. The 4 that I picked up are The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which this one is really short, and I felt like I needed a short one to break it up because I'm assuming these will be pretty difficult to read just based off of when I've tried to read other classics. I've picked up a few, like Dracula. I felt like I didn't know how to read anymore. So I really hope that these are a little bit easier, but I still anticipate them being a little bit tough. So I thought this short one would be really nice to just get through it. And it's actually multiple stories in here, so I don't have to read all of them in that video. And I've always wanted to read this one. So this one is an interesting little cover. I have no idea if that's focusing. And I picked up 2 Jane Austens, Pride and Prejudice, which, look at her little peacock. Isn't that cute? I have no idea what that has to do with the story, but I thought she was cute. And Pride and Prejudice is my friend Mick's favorite movie. I actually texted Mick when I saw these, and I was like, please help me. What classics should I buy? And I knew that obviously she was going to get me to pick up this one. And I also got Sense and Sensibility, which I bought this one solely for the cover. This is my favorite color. I love a little lilac lavender purple, and this is the prettiest cover to me. Like, no question, this is beautiful. And so I have no idea what Sense and Sensibility is about, but she had to come home with me. And last, we've got Little Women, which is a much bigger book than I thought it was going to be. I feel like it doesn't look super big, but it feels big, okay? And there's kind of a lot of words on these pages. So this one is intimidating me just a little bit, but I've already seen the movie and loved it, so I know that I'll enjoy this. This one was actually my least favorite cover out of like all of them, but I just think that I'll enjoy reading this one, so I still picked it up. Wow, okay, that was everything. That was a lot. Actually, let me see how many that was. Okay, that was 20 books that I've got since the end of May, but it's okay. 2 of them I didn't buy. This is why I need the book buying ban. So I think September is definitely doable. I think I'm actually gonna try and stretch it out, like maybe until October, because I have so many books on my physical TBR that I won't come even close to finishing them by the end of the year. So why not extend it a little bit? I know that Sarah and Destiny are also on book buying bans, so it feels like the 3 of us are on like a little pact together to just not buy books. And hopefully that motivates me to not buy any. Do they have any idea who I am? No, they do not. But I know who they are, and I'm gonna pretend like they are holding me responsible. While I'm on this ban, I wanna do some different videos just to help me get through my TBR. So if anybody has any recommendations or anything, like what kind of reading blog would maybe be fun, like reading whatever kind of books, like romances, sad books, fantasy, like whatever, for a week, stuff like that, please let me know. I also think it would be fun to do a video of all the books that are on my physical TBR, because 1, it would help me realize just how many books that I physically own, and maybe remind me of ones that I have kind of forgotten about. And then hopefully you guys can convince me to read some of the books that are on my physical TBR. And I just love watching those videos. I could sit for hours and listen to people talk about all the books that they own, so I enjoy watching it. So hopefully other people will, and I think it would be fun to film. Okay, so my book buying ban is officially in place. I am not going to buy any books until October 1st, unless they are part of a series. I'm really gonna try and stick to this. This is my first time going on a book buying ban, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I will be getting through this physical TBR and making some fun reading blogs. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!